There's this quiet revolution happening all around us. It's a fundamental shift in how people are deciding to live, work, and even connect with each other. We're going to decode it right now. Let's dive in. It really all starts with a little puzzle. See, on the surface, these next two things look like they belong in completely different universes. But what if I told you they're actually connected by a single, really powerful idea? Just stick with me here. So on one hand, you've got a mindful cocktail, a non-alcoholic drink loaded with things like adaptogens and nootropics, all designed to make you feel great. And on the other hand, you have a Florida domicile, which is really a legal strategy for financial freedom. Social wellness versus tax strategy. So what on earth is the link? And here it is, the aha moment. They are both tools. They're tools in what we're calling the Great Life Re-engineering. And look, this isn't just some passing trend. It's a whole strategic framework for redesigning your life literally from the ground up. So what is life re-engineering exactly? Well, think of it as the intentional process of building your life, your social life, your finances, your family life, around what you actually value. It's about consciously choosing freedom and wellness instead of just going along with the default path society kind of lays out for us. So let's start with the first pillar, the social blueprint. This is all about rethinking and re-engineering how we actually connect with each other. And right at the heart of this whole thing is the sober curious movement. Now, this isn't about everyone quitting alcohol completely. It's about being more mindful and intentional about it. And it is a massive shift. I mean, the data shows a staggering 52% of Gen Z are planning to drink less. That changes the entire idea of what a night out even is. Tatiana Mercer, who co-founded Three Spirit, she just nails the insight here. She says, people drink for a feeling as well as the flavor. And that is so key. The goal isn't just to replace a beverage. It's to replace, or you know what, maybe even upgrade the feeling that beverage provides. And this chart really breaks down the science behind it. These aren't just fancy flavored waters. They are functional beverages, engineered for specific outcomes. If you want focus, you've got drinks with ingredients like L-theanine and lion's mane. To de-stress, things like ashwagandha help lower your cortisol. And for that social energy, Kana and GABA can give you a nice serotonin boost. It's basically biohacking your social life. So, the takeaway here is that this new social toolkit is a total upgrade. You get brain care from nootropics, you get mood enhancement without the awful side effects, and of course, no hangover, but it's even bigger than that. It's building a whole new community. Sober bars, non-alcoholic bottle shops, events where the entire focus is on genuine connection, not getting wasted. Okay, now let's pivot to Pillar 2, the financial blueprint. This is where this re-engineering of freedom really starts to hit how we work and how we build wealth. One of the biggest tools here is the digital nomad visa. By 2026, we're talking over 45 countries offering these. And this isn't just a tourist visa. It's a whole legal framework that lets you live and work remotely in another country. It completely changes the game for location independence. Now, if you've ever explored this lifestyle, you've probably heard of this magic number, 183. Spend more than 183 days in a country, and poof, you typically become a tax resident. This is the central puzzle every digital nomad has to solve. But here's the thing. That 183-day rule, it's mostly a myth. What almost nobody talks about is that tax authorities look at way more than just a day count. They're also looking at your center of vital interests. Where's your family? Where are your main bank accounts? Thinking you're safe just by counting days is one of the biggest, most expensive mistakes you can make. For those of you who are strategic planners, this is huge. It's not just about finding a country you vibe with, it's about finding one that makes financial sense. Spain, for instance, offers a flat 24% tax rate for nomads. Portugal has its famous non-habitual resident program. And Croatia, they might exempt you from local income taxes altogether. These are massive financial levers you can pull. But hold on, before you even think about international taxes for any Americans watching, the journey starts at home. You have to officially break up with your high-tax state. States like California or New York have what's called sticky residency, and trust me, they will try to tax your worldwide income even after you leave if you don't make a very clean break. So how do you actually do it? This is the Florida Domicile Playbook. It's a safe, practical, step-by-step way to make the switch. It's a clear, totally doable procedure. You secure a legal address, get a Florida driver's license, file a formal declaration of domicile, update your voter registration and bank accounts, and finally, you sever all major ties with your old state. This creates the legal foundation. And that financial freedom from no state income tax, that's what makes everything else we're talking about possible. And that financial freedom we just established, that's the launch pad for our final pillar, the family blueprint. This new freedom isn't just for solo travelers. Families are re-engineering their entire home life and their kids' education in some really radical ways. And they're doing it through a model called world schooling. And yep, it's exactly what it sounds like, using the entire world as your classroom. You're not just homeschooling while you travel, the travel itself becomes the core of the curriculum. But for parents, the biggest question is always about safety and, is this even legal? And you absolutely have to be careful. In countries like the US and the UK, it's perfectly legal and regulated. But if you try this in a place like Germany, homeschooling is strictly illegal and you could face some serious fines. Knowing the local law is just non-negotiable.
And look, like any major life choice, it's a trade-off. The gains are incredible. Real-world skills, cultural fluency, ridiculously strong family bonds. But the challenges are real too. Limited consistent friendships for the kids, missing out on things like prom, and just the exhaustion that comes from constant change. It's not for every family, but for the right one, it's absolutely life-changing.
So when you put these three pillars together, the social, the financial, and the family blueprints, a really powerful idea starts to emerge. These aren't just a bunch of random trends. They're tools. They are blueprints. And that makes you the architect. You have the agency, you have the models to intentionally design a life that actually lines up with what you care about. If you're the kind of person who gets this, you see the system, and you now have the power to build your own. So, the only question left is the one for you. It's not about whether any of this is possible. We've seen that it is. The real question is much more personal. What part of your life will you re-engineer first?
If this touched your heart, please subscribe, like, and share it with your family. Save this for more meaningful content ahead.